Hey, beautiful people of the internet, my name is Ryan. How are we doing today? Is it weird, me being back on YouTube and making videos again? Is it as weird for you, I guess I should be asking, as it is for me? It's a little weird for me. It's very good for me. But is it weird for you? Is it good for you? I feel like that's a maybe inappropriate question to ask. Anyway, the point of today's video is that I would love to reintroduce you to my life. It has been a year since I last checked in with you guys and kind of talked about what was going on in my life's path, the path of my life. A year is a long time sometimes, and also sometimes it's a very short time. Time is funky like that. Time is a construct. I sound like a super philosophical stoner bro. In this last year of my life, things have moved pretty quickly. When we last talked, I was obviously getting ready for my last semester at grad school, or my last 2 semesters at grad school out in California. I am now across the country doing something incredibly different for work, with different relationships to my family, a different actual relationship in my life, like love life. You know, everything is about as different as it could be. I know too, part of what happened when I came back on YouTube is that a lot of you guys had immediately a lot of questions. Hopefully today I can kind of get to some of that stuff as well. I guess I should cover the basics first. I did graduate. I successfully defended my thesis in like May of last year. I defended almost 200 pages of a novel which I have since not worked on a ton, but I feel really good about that. I'll talk about that later actually. I defended my novel. It went pretty well, I think as well as those things can go. It gave me a lot of confidence. But yeah, I graduated. I had a blast in California to kind of close out my 2 years there. I did way too much trail running and way too much like visiting of beautiful places in the natural world. That was always kind of the key, like the best thing about California to me was the natural world out there. So I did that as a way of kind of saying goodbye. I like visited all the old trails that I'd been on. And then around July 4th of last year, a good friend of mine flew out to Sacramento, California. He hopped in my car, my truck, which had everything in it that I had brought to California, plus a couple things that I'd picked up along the way, like way too many books. And then we drove the next 3 days across the country. You know, I'm lucky enough that the interstate that runs through Davis, where I was going to school, runs pretty much most of the way back to Indiana. So we spent 3 days on the road. We saw some beautiful country. We came back here. I landed in an apartment with my friend and his girlfriend. And then I kind of just got to work. So like that first day, I kind of, I knew that I wanted to do something not academic and not in school for a little bit in my life. I'd been in school since kindergarten or pre-K all the way through grad school. I'd never taken a break. So what I wanted and what I still want out of these kind of this next year or so of my life, or the last year of my life, was to take a break from school and to enter into a different kind of world, different kind of bubble. So I walked around that day to the 3 local running stores near my apartment, and I just asked for jobs. I asked if they were hiring. I hung out with the people there. Got hired very quickly at this local awesome running store here in Indianapolis, and since then I've just been kind of working there. So I'm an assistant manager there now. It is an incredibly fun job. It doesn't feel a ton like work, which is, I continue to tell people that is the absolute best thing about it. So I work at a job that doesn't feel like work. I talk to people about running all day, which is a thing I would do anyways if I wasn't getting paid for it. I put on a lot of fun running events. I spent almost all of today, for instance, on the phone with people and sending emails, setting up a trail running night next week with a brand that I really like and a group of runners that I really like. So that is a pretty cool job. There's always the question about like, well, what do you want to do long term? I find that slightly an offensive question because like, this is what I want to do right now and that's what's important. I'll always have the future to think about the future. And it's not like I'm ignoring the future now. I'm doing what I want to do right now, which is to be very close to family, to work a job that still gives me time to read and write, and to kind of enjoy my mid-20s, which I'm doing. So I guess I should cover some of those other things. Here, living in Indianapolis, I am an hour's drive from home, which is a lot closer than 3,000 miles across the country. So I will leave a little bit of the family stuff until the very end. I know some of you guys asked after Dean, my stepdad. I'm going to leave that till the very end. But yeah, it's amazing to be close to family. I spent a lot of last summer, and before things got a little bit busier with me, personal life, I spent a lot of last summer just like hanging out with my family and like getting dinner and hanging out on the land, you know, in the houses and seeing people, and that has been so incredibly good for the soul. Like, I don't know if I'll be in Indiana forever, but for now, what's very important is that I spend time with these people who I love. My parents, my grandparents, family I had seen and family I hadn't seen in a good long while. It's one of the other things that this job allows me to do is that I can read and write a ton. It doesn't feel a ton like emotional work necessarily or creative work that I do. Like my work life is really good, but it still leaves me the kind of energy it takes to read and write. I have written over the last 9 months since I've graduated, I have written by turns an absolute crap ton, and by turns a very, very little. So one of the things that happened when I moved back here, I was lucky enough that my alma mater, Wabash College, kind of the theater department there, I'd been in the theater department a little bit, they reached out and invited me to be the playwright in residence for the fall. So I spent a good chunk of the fall, 2 days a week on their campus, like helping out in classes and teaching a little bit, but mostly just kind of mentoring. And then also I wrote this like long kind of one-act play that was then put on, you know, acted and directed and produced by students. So I worked directly with students for, you know, like 2.5 months, and specifically the very last month quite a bit, to put on a thing that, you know, that was going to make its way out into the world. This is a really terrible idea because it's going to mess up my lighting and everything, but there is the poster for the play. So anyways, that was a really cool experience. Both the like creative side of that, putting out, like I'd never written a play before, and to put out something that a piece of creative work that is seen and experienced directly while you are in the room is an absolutely insane thing. I will never get over how insane that was. I loved every minute of it, but it was great. But the other part of that was really cool is that I did a lot of kind of just like mentoring and teaching and hands-on instruction in a way that made me realize more than I had ever realized it before, that that's a thing I want to do long term. Like, speaking of the long-term career stuff, teaching is in the future in some way. Anyways, that's all just to say that by turns I have written an absolute crap ton. When the writing of that was happening, I was writing, it was almost like a full-time job on the side of my full-time job. There have also been plenty of months where I have not written a thing. So that is also not all that upsetting to me. I spent 2 years where I was writing all of the time. I've spent a couple months here not writing much, and I think that's fine. I think I'm still averaging pretty great, and it has been so good for my soul to kind of see what my life is like with writing, and also see what my life is like when I'm on a break from writing. It just makes me appreciate writing more. I just now I know that writing in some way is necessary for my life. I've also kind of gone roller coaster in terms of reading, but I'm going to cover that a ton on this channel in other ways, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about that right now. One of the more important things that did happen in my life that I'm super happy to share on here, around right before I moved back, or a little bit before I moved back to Indiana, I got in contact with a girl I had dated back when I was in Indiana before, and her name is Megan, and we were talking quite a bit about how I was moving back, etc. And long story short, we ended up getting back together, and my girlfriend Megan is absolutely amazing. She makes me happier than I ever thought I had reason to be or ever expected to be. Yeah, life with her is just really good. It's better. It's amazing how those things work out. She also has an amazing dog named Kingsley, who I call Kings for short most of the time. He's a boxer pup. I'll probably try to find a way to put up a picture right here of Kingsley, who has my entire heart. I don't have a dog myself yet, which sucks, and I'm trying to fix that as quickly as possible. Right now it just doesn't work logistically, but I'm working towards making it work logistically. But Kings is, in the meantime, you know, I love that dog as if he were my own. So on that front, life is pretty dang good. I know you were all super curious about my love life. I actually have no idea if you were curious about my love life, but now you've heard about it one way or the other. Oh man, a whole bunch of you guys have asked about these bookshelves. The fact that I actually have bookshelves for once. Don't worry, I'm going to spend an entire video walking you through these bookshelves, which make me so absolutely happy. Is this awkward for anyone other than me? I feel like this is potentially also inappropriate. These bookshelves make me so happy. I'll spend a whole nother video talking about it. Let's see here. Yeah, a couple other things I guess I should talk about. Running. For those of you who have followed this channel for a very long time, I ran all through middle school and high school and college. I ran very seriously that entire time. When I graduated college, I took a little bit of time off. And I was pretty, like a part of me was pretty sure that running was never going to come back for me. That I had given all of my passion to running, it had not returned the favor, and that was going to kind of be like an ex that just kept popping up. Like it was going to be a bad relationship that was full of anxiety and all that stuff for the rest of forever. Part of this happened while I was out in California, but since then it's only grown. I fell back in love with the trails and running as I had originally fallen in love with it, which is out in the natural world. And obviously working in a running store, that can only go one of two ways. I'm very happy to report that running is, again, a big part of my life. I have always felt that like the tripod that this, my phone is currently sitting on, that I was always sitting on these three legs and that I needed all three to be happy. I needed to be running, I needed to be writing, and I needed to be reading. And in certain stages of life, one or two of those legs have kind of fallen by the wayside as I focused more on one. In grad school, writing was a very big one. Reading was also a very big one, and running sometimes was a little bit on the back burner. Right now, it's just a time when running is more on the, on my mind a little bit more. As part of that, I have started putting together, some running that I'm really proud of. I definitely thought I was going to be done competing after college, and instead I have kind of fallen in love with the process of training again, and because of that I have fallen in love with the chance to race again. I should say, before I go any further, I'm not going to spend much more time on this, but running, why do people talk about it at all? It's such a stupid sport. Ultra running and trail running in general is such a stupid sport. I will maintain that until the day that I die. Why do people spend any attention or time or money on it? But that said, it is also incredibly special to me. It is so special to me that I've started a second YouTube channel to talk about how special it is to me so that I do not annoy all of you here. The link to that YouTube channel is going to be down in the comments. I'll keep it in the comments of all of my videos. I'd love to see you guys over there. That said, the main update in terms of running is that it's going really, really well. I am once again in love with the process. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm actually running really well, which is super cool because it's been a long time since I've ran really well. So it's going so well. I'm also probably going to talk about this on that other channel and potentially on here at times. But I've gotten sponsored, my first ever sponsor for running, which is incredibly humbling to say and not something I thought I would ever say aloud. I have my first sponsor. It's this amazing company called Roman Run. The reason I'm sitting up is that they made this t-shirt. It says kind of in small print right there, Roman Run Company. I'm obviously wearing the hat too. Roman Run was generous enough to include me on their team, which is currently one person. They took a chance on me, which is incredibly meaningful. So I'm going to talk more about that at another point in another video, but basically that part of my life is going really well. Yeah, I think that's all to say about running right now. Oh, here is an enormous update that I've totally forgotten to talk to you guys about. In the last year, I have fallen in love with LaCroix sparkling water. That's all. I'm never going back to carbonated drinks as my main source of sparkle. LaCroix is now filling that hole in my heart, and I can't believe I honestly ever was any other kind of way. LaCroix is life. I think honestly that's probably about enough for this video. Now you know the basics. Oh, I'll fill you in on family stuff. My family in general is really good. I'm very happy to be seeing them. I'm getting to see my mom quite a bit. My sister's wedding is here in like 10 days. which is incredible, and I'm so happy for her. My sister currently engaged to a really great guy, and I get to be in her, in her wedding here in 10 days, and also give a little toast, which makes me very nervous, but which I'm so happy for. But also, a lot of you have asked after Dean, who I'd made a lot of videos before kind of talking about Dean, my stepfather who has cancer. Dean has had a less good year than I, would have wished he had. He is in a lot of pain. Last I'd mentioned on here, the cancer had kind of spread to his bones and also his lymph nodes, and I think I had mentioned that at least. And that's just kind of continued to spread. It has limited his mobility quite a bit. He had some surgery actually to kind of put a metal rod in his leg to give him back some mobility because it had weakened the bone. It's just been kind of an up and down year. A lot of worrying, honestly, a lot of like not knowing what's going to happen. Like we make a lot of plans as a family right now that include, at the end of them, at least that's what the plan is. I don't know what the future holds. Because it's just kind of hard to know whether or not Dean is going to be like able to move super well on that day, or if he's going to feel really good. He's just got a lot of good days, but also a lot of bad days where he needs to kind of rest and, take it easy. I'm happy to report he's the same amazing amount of energy in a very small package. He's, slowed down a little bit, but he's still the same amazing guy who I still absolutely love and adore. Anyways, the point is, thank you for asking. That's the important thing. Thank you for caring. And, I'll give updates on here as, occasionally. Don't necessarily want it to be a major focus of this channel, but I massively appreciate the people who have checked in and asked about Dean, and I'm obviously going to continue to tell you how he's doing. So thanks for all your good vibes on that account. I am going to end this video now because I've been talking for way too long. And of course this video is going to be long. I feel like I've introduced you to my life, or at least reintroduced you, but also that I haven't covered anything at all. What I'm really looking forward to is continuing to make videos and continuing to kind of clue you into what's going on in my life, or what I'm reading, or any and all of that stuff. I will be back very soon with another close reading video, and probably also a review, and also another special video that I'm working on. As you can tell, there are a lot of things in the works. So I hope to see you guys rather soon. Thanks. Best wishes.